Drug and Cosmetic Act. The Drug and Cosmetic Act have been passed with the objective of regulating the import, manufacturing, distribution, and sales of the drug and cosmetic. The Act regulates the manufacturing and the sale of the drugs and cosmetics through licensing so that these are manufactured, distributed, and sold only by the qualified person. To have a check on such operations, the central and the state drug control authority are established. There are following four categories of the drug. First is the drug specified in Schedule C, C1 and X. Next is the drug not specified in Schedule C, C1 and X. Third one is the drug specified in Schedule C and C1 but excluding those specified in Schedule X, and the drug specified in Schedule X. The Act mainly concerned with the standard and the quality of the drugs manufactured and control the manufacturing, sale and the distribution of drugs. The main objective is to prevent substandard in drugs for maintaining the high standard of medical treatment. After the objective, we discuss about the definitions. First definition is the Ayurvedic Siddha or Unani drugs, which includes all medicines intended for internal or external use for or in the diagnosis, treatment, mitigation, or prevention of disease or disorder in humans or animals and manufactured in accordance with the formula prescribed in authoritative books Ayurvedic Siddha Unani Tibet system of medicine. Next definition is the drugs. It includes all medicines for internal or external use of humans or animals and all substances intended to be used for or in the diagnosis, treatment, mitigation, or the prevention of any disease or disorder in human or animals, including preparations applied on human body for the purpose of repelling insects like mosquitoes. Such substances other than food intended to affect the structure or any function of human body or intended to be used for destruction of insects which cause diseases in human beings or animals, as may be specified from time to time by central government by notification in the official gazette. All substances intended for use as components of drugs including empty gelatin capsules. Such devices, which are intended for internal or external use in diagnosis, treatment, mitigation, or prevention of disease or disorder in humans or animals, as may be specified from central government by notification in the official gazette after consultation with Drug Technical Advisory Board. Next definition is the substance. The substance must be something other than the medicine but which are used for the treatment. Example, absorbent cotton, gauze, bandage, etc. Next definition is the manufacture. It includes any process or a part of process for making, altering, ornamenting, finishing, packing, labeling, or otherwise treating or adopting any drug or cosmetic with a view to its sale or distribution, but does not include compounding or dispensing of any drug or packing of any drug or cosmetic in the ordinary course of retail business. Next definition is the patent or proprietary medicine. In relation to Ayurvedic Siddha Unani Tibet system of medicine, all formulations containing only such ingredients mentioned in the formula described in authoritative books of Ayurvedic Siddha Unani or Tibet system of medicine specified in first schedule but does not include a medicine which is administered by parenteral route. In relation to any other system of medicine, a drug, which is a remedy or a prescription presented in a form ready for internal or external administration of humans or animals, and which is not included in the addition of IP for the time being, or any other pharmacopoeia authorized in this behalf by central government after consultation with DTAB. Next definition is the cosmetics. It means any article intended to be sprayed, poured, or rubbed on, or introduced into, or applied to human body or its part for cleansing, beautifying, promote attractiveness, or altering appearance. Next definition is the misbranded drugs. Any drug is called as misbranded if it is not labeled in prescribed manner, if it is so colored, coated, powdered, or polished that damage is concealed, or it is made to appear of better or greater therapeutic value than it really is. If a label or container bears any statement, design which makes any false claim for drug or gives misleading information. Next definition is the adulterated drug. Any drug is considered to be adulterated if it contains a color other than which is prescribed, if it consists in whole or in part of any filthy or decomposed substance, if it has been packed, prepared, or stored under poor conditions whereby it may have been contaminated with filth and rendered injurious to health. If it contains any poisonous substance in the container in whole or in part which cause the contents injurious to health. If drug contains harmful or toxic substance which cause harmful effect on health. If drug is admixed with any substance to reduce its quality. Next definition is the spurious drug. Any drug is called as spurious if it is imported under a name which belongs to another drug. If it is an substitute for another drug or if it is resembles another drug in a manner likely to deceive or bears upon it or its label or container the name of another drug. If it has been substituted wholly or in part by another drug substance. If it is claims to be the product of a manufacturer or a company of whom it is not truly a product. These are all the definitions which are commonly asked in the Drug and Cosmetic Act. Next topic is the import of drugs and cosmetics. The drugs or cosmetics may be imported into India under the authority of license excepting those whose import is prohibited. Some drugs or cosmetics can be imported without any permit provided they are of standard quality and statement that they comply with provisions relating to import has been given to custom collector by manufacturer or importer. Standard quality of drugs means that drug complies with the standards set out in the second schedule. The drugs which are prohibited and the cosmetics also which are prohibited includes any drug or cosmetic which is not of standard quality, any misbranded, spurious or adulterated drug, any misbranded or spurious cosmetic, any drug or cosmetic for import of which a license is prescribed otherwise than under and in accordance with such license. Any patent or proprietary medicine, unless there is displayed in prescribed manner on the label or the container thereof the true formula or the list of the active ingredients contained in it, together with the quantities. Any drug which by means of any statement, design, or a device accompanying in it or by other means claims to cure or mitigate any such diseases or to have any such other effect as may be prescribed. Any cosmetic containing any ingredient which may render it unsafe or harmful for use under the direction indicated or recommended. Drugs which claims to prevent or cure any of the disease or ailment specified in Schedule J to the rules. Drugs whose manufacturing, sales and distribution are prohibited in the country of origin except when required for the purpose of examination, test or analysis. Any cosmetic containing any ingredient which may cause it unsafe or harmful for use under the direction indicated. Any cosmetic containing coal tar colors other than the prescribed in Schedule Q. Any cosmetic containing more than 2 ppm of arsenic calculated as arsenic trioxide and also more than 2 ppm of lead. Any cosmetic intended for use on eyebrow or eyelash or under eye which contains any coal tar dye color or coal tar base. Any cosmetic containing hexachlorophene, mercury compounds, or lead or arsenic compounds which are used for coloring are also prohibited. However, small quantities of cosmetics for the use of passenger and forming part of their luggage may be imported for personal use. Form 8 is used for the application for import license excluding Schedule X drugs and Form 8A are used for the application for import license for Schedule X drugs. This license is valid for 3 years from the date of issue. Next are the conditions of the import license. Licensee should maintain a proper record of imported drug wherein entries made for stock of imported material, its distribution, persons to whom imported drug is passed, price charged, quantities of imported drug. Importer maintain all proper storage facilities for the drugs imported. Importer should permit the inspector on behalf of government without notice to inspect the premises, stocking facilities, records, and the sale of imported substances. Licensee should withdraw the substances from market if asked to do so by authority if found the substance substandard. Next are the offences and penalties which are included for the import of drugs and cosmetics. An offense of an adulterated or spurious drug or cosmetic being imported into country in violation of provisions of Act is punishable with imprisonment up to 3 years and fine up to 5,000 rupees. If any drug or cosmetic illegally imported is punishable with 6 months imprisonment or 50,000 rupees fine or both. Any drug or cosmetic imported in contravention with the provisions of any notification shall be punishable with imprisonment up to 3 years or fine up to rupees 5,000. Next topic is the import of drugs and cosmetics which are permitted under license. In this, firstly we discuss about the import of Schedule C and C1 drugs. The conditions which are required are licensee must have adequate facilities for the storage of the imported drugs so that properties of the drugs are preserved. Licensee must maintain the records showing the name of the drugs and persons to whom they have been sold. Licensee must allow the inspector to inspect the premises where drugs are stored and to check the records and to take the samples for test or analysis. Licensee on request shall supply the samples of the drugs from all batches to licensing authority for test or analysis. Licensee must not sell the drugs from any batch from which samples have been supplied to licensing authority except under the advice of licensing authority. The import license may be cancelled or suspended if conditions are not satisfied. Next is the import of Schedule X drugs. The licensee must have adequate facilities for the storage of imported drugs. Licensing authority may also refuse to grant the license if license granted to applicant was previously suspended or cancelled, or in case if the applicant failed to comply with any provisions of the Drug and Cosmetic Act. If applicant is not satisfied with the decision, may appeal to the central government within the 30 days time period. Next are the conditions which are required for the import of small quantities of drug for examination, test or analysis. Licensee must maintain the records of imported drugs having information the particular of quantities, the name of the manufacturer and the date of the import. Licensee must allow the inspector to inspect the premises where imported drugs are kept and to check the records and to take the samples for test or analysis. Small quantities of drug, the import of which is prohibited under the Act, may be imported for the purpose of test examination or analysis. Drugs that are imported should be used exclusively for the purpose for which they are manufactured. Next is the import of drugs for personal use. The small quantities of drugs, the import of which is prohibited, may be imported for personal use without any license, subjected to following conditions. First condition is the drugs shall form the passenger's luggage and shall exclusively for the personal use of passenger. The next condition is the quantity of any single drug so imported shall not exceed 100 doses. The last one is the import of new drug. No new drugs are allowed to imported without sanction of licensing authority. The importer when applying for permission shall produce all evidence related to standard of quality and purity, strength to licensing authority. After that we discuss about the topic the manufacturing of drugs. The central government is empowered to prohibit manufacturing and sale of any drug formulations. The following categories of drugs and cosmetics are prohibited to manufactured or sold. Any drug or cosmetic which are substandard, misbranded, adulterated, or spurious are prohibited to be manufactured. Any patent or proprietary medicine without clear indication of ingredients and any drug claims for accurate cure or prevention of disease listed in Schedule J. Any manufacturing or formulation containing drugs or cosmetic which has been imported into a country in contravention to the provisions of Act and rules. The manufacturing for the sale of any drug or cosmetic containing any harmful ingredients are also prohibited to be manufactured or sold. Manufacturing for sale of any drug or cosmetic in contravention to the provisions of the Act and rule, provided that manufacture of small quantities of any drug for the purpose of examination, test, or analysis is permitted in prescribed conditions. Next topic is the kinds of manufacturing license. In this, first we discuss about the manufacture of drugs specified in Schedule C and C1. Licensed premises must conform to the requirements of GMP specified in Schedule M. License must provide adequate arrangements for testing the strength and the quality of drug. The manufacturer must carry out under active directions and personal supervisions of technically qualified staff who should be either graduate in pharmacy with minimum 18 months experience in manufacturing or graduate in medicine with minimum 3 years of experience in manufacturing and testing of drug, or graduate in science with chemistry or microbiology, or graduate in chemical engineering with 3 years experience in manufacturing and testing of drugs. Licensing must have adequate facilities for the storage of imported drugs. Licensee must maintain proper records of drugs, and licensee must allow the inspector to inspect the premises and records and samples. Licensee must inform to licensing authority about any change in the technical staff or any material change in plant or premises after last inspection. Licensee on request shall supply the samples of the drug from all the batches to licensing authority for test. All Schedule C drugs must be issued in previously sterilized glass containers sealed so as to prevent entry of bacteria. The test for sterility must be carried out. Drug must comply with standards of strength, quality, and purity. After that, we discuss about the manufacturing of drugs specified in Schedule X. Accounts of all transactions related to manufacturing must be serially bounded in register. Drugs should be stored in bulk and if needed for manufacturing outside storage place, they should kept in separate place in custody of responsible person. Licensee must submit a report of manufacturing and sale of drugs to licensing authority in every 3 months. Next topic is the manufacturing of drugs other than those specified in Schedule C, C1 and X. Licensee should maintain an inspection book in which inspectors may record their inferences. If licensee desire to undertake the manufacture of any additional categories of drugs, he should pay a fee of rupees 10 for each such additional category. Licensee must comply with such additional requirements of which he has been given at least 4-month notice by licensing authority. Next topic is the manufacturing of drugs for examination, test or analysis. Licensee must use manufactured drugs exclusively for the purpose for which they are manufactured. Licensee must maintain the records of manufactured drugs, including information of the quantities and the name of the person to which supplied. Licensee must allow the inspector to inspect premises where drugs kept, records, and samples. Licensee must comply with such additional requirements of which he has given at least 1 month notice by licensing authority. After that, we discuss about the loan license. For drugs other than Schedule C, C1, and X, loan license can be given. A qualified person can make use of approved facilities of manufacturing provided by any other person and obtain a loan license. The licensee should convince the licensing authority about availability of infrastructure on loan from approved manufacturer and also be convinced about the need to grant such loan license. All the conditions of good manufacturing practices in Schedule M are required to be fulfilled. Manufacturing records should be maintained for 5 years. In case of drugs with date of expiry, the record should be maintained for 2 years. Application for grant or renewal of loan license is made in Form 24A. The license is issued by licensing authority in Form 25A, which is valid for 1 year. A person using premises equipment and staff of another license comes under loan license. Loan license cancelled or suspended if the license owned by loan licensee whose manufacturing facilities have been availed by licensee is cancelled or suspended. After that, next topic is repacking license. It is granted for the purpose of breaking up any drug other than those specified in Schedule C and C1 on application to licensing authority in Form 24B and license is issued in Form 25B. The repacking operation should be carried out under hygienic conditions and under the supervision of a person who holds D-Pharm or is a registered pharmacist, or a person who passed intermediate exam with chemistry as main subject, or a person who passed matriculation or equivalent recognized examination and has at least 4 year experience in manufacturing, dispensing, and repacking of drugs. Factory premises must comply with Schedule M. The applicant should have adequate arrangement in his own premises for testing of drugs at testing unit which should be separate from the repacking unit. The license should kept at licensed premises or produced at request of drug inspector. Any change in the staff should be informed to licensing authority. For repacking any additional item, application should be made to licensing authority. The label on the repacked drugs should mention the name and the address of licensee and his license number preceded by RPG license number. The license remains valid up to 31 December of year following the year in which it is granted. In this presentation, we will discuss about the different administrations of the Act and the rule. For the efficient administration of the Act and the rules, the following agencies have been provided. In the advisory committee, there are two committees. First one is the Drug Technical Advisory Board, DTAB, and the next one is the Drug Consultative Committee. In the analytical board, there are Central Drug Laboratories, CDL, Drug Control Laboratories in state, and the government analyst. In the executive committees, there are licensing authorities, controlling authorities, and the drug inspectors. Firstly, we discuss about the Drug Technical Advisory Board, that is DTAB. DTAB is constituted by the central government to advise the central and state government on technical matters arising out of the administration of the Act. It consists of 18 members, of whom 8 are ex officio members, 5 nominated, and 5 elected members as follows. In ex officio members, there is following members. First one is the Director General of Health Services, the Drugs Controller of India, the Director of Central Drug Laboratory, Calcutta, the Director of Central Research Institute, Kasauli, the Director of Indian Veterinary Research Institute, Nagar, the President of Pharmacy Council of India and the President of Medical Council of India, and also the Director of Central Drug Research Institute, Lucknow. In the nominated members, there are following members: 2 persons nominated by the central government from amongst persons who are in charge of drug controller in state, 1 person from the pharmaceutical industry nominated by the central government, and 2 government analysts nominated by the central government. In the elected member, there are following member: a teacher in pharmacy or pharmaceutical chemistry or pharmacognosy on the staff of an Indian university or an affiliated college elected by the Executive Committee of the Pharmacy Council of India. A teacher in medicine or therapeutics on the staff of an Indian university or an affiliated college elected by the Executive Committee of the Medical Council of India. One pharmacologist elected by the governing body of the Indian Council of Medical Research, one person elected by the Council of the Central Medical Association, and one person to be elected by the Council of the Indian Pharmaceutical Association. The nominated and the elected members hold the office for 3 years but are eligible for renomination or re-election. The central government appoints a secretary and also provides the clerical and the other staff to the board. The board may, with the previous sanction of the central government, make by laws fixing a quorum and regulating its own procedures and the conduct of the business to be transacted by it. The board may constitute subcommittees and may appoint the person who are not members of the board either temporarily or for some period not exceeding 3 years as it may decide. The functions of the DTAB is to advise the central government and the state government on technical matters arising out of the administration of this act, and it can form the subcommittees for specific assignments even though they are not the member of the DTAB. Next one is the Drug Consultative Committee. In order to secure uniformity in the Act throughout India, the Drug Consultative Committee is constituted by the central government. It is an advisory committee for the central and the state government and the TTAB. It consists of two representatives nominated by the central government and one nominee of each of the state government. The committee meets when required by the central government to do so and is empowered to regulate its own procedures. Nothing discussed above in respect of DTAB and the Drug Consultative Committee applies to Ayurvedic Siddha or Unani drugs. Next one is the Central Drug Laboratory. It is established in Kolkata under the control of a director appointed by the central government. The Act provides for the establishment of a central drug laboratory under the control of a director appointed by the central government. This laboratory, established in Calcutta, has been entrusted with the following functions: to analyze or test samples of the drugs or cosmetics sent to it by the custom collector or courts, and to carry out such other duties as entrusted to it by the central government or with its permission by the state government after consultation with the Drug Technical Advisory Board. The functions of the laboratory in respect of SERA, solutions of the serum, proteins for injections, vaccines, toxins, antigens, antitoxins, sterilized, surgical ligatures and sutures and bacteriophages are carried out at the Central Research Institute, Kasauli. The functions of the laboratory in respect of anti-sera vaccines, toxoids, and diagnostic antigens, all for veterinary use, are carried out at the Veterinary Research Institute, Izzatnagar and Mukteshwar. Similarly, samples of condoms are sent to the Central Pharmacopoeial Laboratory, Ghaziabad. Samples of oral poliomyelitis vaccines are sent to the Pasteur Institute of India, Konur, and Enterovirus Research Center, Haffkine Institute of Compound, Mumbai. And samples of VDRL antigen are sent to the Laboratory of Serologist and Chemical Examiner to the Government of India, Calcutta. The central government has specified additional laboratory centers as reference or surveillance centers on AIDS for the purpose of carrying out tests on blood units for determining that such units are free from HIV antibodies. The function of the laboratory in respect of homeopathic medicines shall be carried out at the Homeopathy Pharmacopoeial Laboratory, Ghaziabad. The directors of respective laboratories exercise the function of the Director Central Drug Laboratory in respect of these drugs or classes of drugs and condoms. Samples sent by the court for analysis or test to the Central Drug Laboratory should be sent by registered post in a sealed packet enclosed together with a memorandum in the prescribed form in an outer cover addressed to the director. The packet as well as the outer cover should be marked with a distinguishing number. A copy of the memorandum and a specimen impression of the seal used in sealing of the packet should be sent separately by registered post to the director. On receipt of the packet, it should be opened by an officer authorized in this behalf by the director, who should record the condition of the seal on the packet. Result of the test should be sent to the center. Certificates issued by the laboratory under the rules should be signed by the director or any officer authorized by the central government in this behalf by notification in the official gazette. The state government may by notification in the official gazette appoint such person as it thinks fit having the prescribed qualification to be government analyst for such areas in the state and in respect of such drugs or classes of drugs as it may notify. The central government may also similarly appoint government analyst in respect of such drugs or classes of drugs or cosmetics or classes of cosmetics as specified. No person who has any financial interest in the import, manufacture, or sale of the drugs or cosmetics, or is directly or indirectly engaged in any trade or business connected with the manufacturing of the drugs, can be appointed as a government analyst. Next one is the licensing authorities. Any application for the grant or renewal of a license for the import, manufacture, sale, distribution of any drug or cosmetic is to be made to the licensing authority. The qualification of a licensing authority has been prescribed under the Rule 49A by the Drug and Cosmetic Act, Rules 1989. Thus, although the licensing authority were performing an important executive function under the Act, their qualifications was not prescribed until April 1989. The Drug Controller India has recently been notified as the Central Licensing Approving Authority. Next one is the controlling authorities. Drug inspectors appointed under the Act are under the control of a controlling authority. The qualifications of a controlling authority has been recently prescribed under the new Rule 50A by the Drugs and Cosmetic Rules 1989. Next one is the drug inspector. The central and the state government are empowered to appoint drug inspectors and to assign them definite areas. Any person having financial interest in the import, manufacture, or sale of the drugs or cosmetics cannot be appointed as drug inspectors. Drug inspectors are deemed to be public servants and are officially subordinate to the controlling authorities. There is no bar to the central government prescribing different qualifications for inspectors for different purposes. It has full freedom to prescribe any qualifications and can prescribe one set of qualifications for an inspector for one purpose and another set of qualifications for an inspector for another purpose. It could therefore prescribe lower qualifications for an inspector for inspection of shops, and the last provision to Rule 49 cannot be held to be ultra vires. It is not essential to have only one inspector for one territory. There can be more than one inspectors exercising different powers in the same territory. Next topic is the sale of the drugs. In this, there is different subtopics. First one is the wholesale of the biological, which is included in the Schedule C and C1. Next one is the wholesale of other than those specified in Schedule C, C1 and X. Next one is the wholesale of Schedule X drugs, and last one is the retail sale. Under the Sale of Goods Act, the term sale is defined as a contract for sale of goods is a contract whereby the seller transfer or agrees to transfer the property in goods to the buyer for a price. The drugs reach the consumer from the manufacturer by retail through shopkeepers. Manufacturers generally sell their goods to the stockist who in turn sell the same to the shopkeepers. This transaction between the stockist and the shopkeeper is the wholesale. Under the Drug Price Control Order 1987, wholesaler means a dealer or his agent or a stockist appointed by a manufacturer or an importer for the sale of his drugs to a retailer. And a retailer means a dealer carrying on the retail business of a sale of drugs to customers. Sale of drugs being a specialized job different from the sale of common goods. the Drug and Cosmetic Act 1940 and the rules thereunder provide for a license for the purpose. If drugs are sold or stocked for sale at more than one place, separate license should be taken in respect of each such place. However, this is not applicable to itinerant vendors. For the purpose of issuing licenses, the state government is empowered to appoint licensing authorities for the specified areas. A licensing authority may, with the written approval of the state government, delegate the powers to sign licenses and other specified powers to any person under his control. Drugs specified in Schedule C and C1 but not included in Schedule X. The license issued in the Form 21B is subject to the following conditions in addition to the general conditions discussed earlier. The license should be displayed in a prominent part of the premises open to the public. The licensee should observe precautions prescribed for stocking or sale of the drugs. For the sale of each additional categories of the drugs, the permission should be obtained from the licensing authorities. No sale of any drug should be made for the purpose of resale to a person not holding the requisite license to sell or distribute the drugs, provided that this shall not apply to the sale of any drug to an officer or authority purchasing on behalf of government or a hospital, medical, educational or research institute or RMP for the purpose of supply to his patient, or a manufacturer of hydrogenated vegetable oils, beverages, confectionery, and other non-medicinal products where such drugs are required for processing their products. Next one is for Schedule X drugs. The license issued in the Form 20G is subject to the following conditions in addition to the general conditions discussed earlier. The license should be displayed in a prominent part of the premises open to the public. The licensee should comply with the provisions of the Drug and Cosmetic Act 1940 and the rules thereunder, and drugs should be purchased from a duly licensed dealer or manufacturer. The licensee should forward to the licensing authority copies of the invoices of sale made to the retail dealer. Sale can be made to a person holding requisite license to sell or distribute drugs specified in Schedule X. This, however, does not apply to the sale of any drug to an officer or authority purchasing on behalf of government or a hospital, medical, educational or research institute, nursing home, RMP for the purpose of supply to its patients, or manufacturers holding a license to manufacture drugs containing the drugs specified in Schedule X. Next one is for drugs other than those specified in Schedule C, C1 and X. The license issued in Form 20B is subject to the following conditions in addition to the general conditions discussed earlier. The license should be displayed in a prominent place open to the public. The licensee should comply with the provisions of the Drug and Cosmetic Act 1940 and the rules thereunder in force. Drugs should be purchased only from a duly licensed dealer or manufacturer. Sale can be made to a person holding requisite license to sell or distribute the drugs. However, this shall not apply to the sale of any drugs to an officer or authority purchasing on behalf of the government or a hospital, medical, educational or research institute or a RMP for the purpose of supply to his patients, or a manufacturer of beverages, confectional biscuits, and other non medical products where such drugs are required for processing their products. Next one is retail sale. For retail sale, two type of licenses are issued. First one is general and the next one is restricted. General license are granted to person who has premises for the business and who engage the services of a qualified person to supervise the sale of drugs and do the compounding and dispensing. License for retail sale of drugs other than those specified in Schedule C, C1 and X are issued in Form 20. For drugs specified in Schedule C, C1 excluding those specified in Schedule X in Form 21, and for Schedule X drugs in Form 20F. The conditions which required are: the license should be displayed in a prominent place in a part of the premises open to the public. The license should comply with the provisions of D&C Act and rules. Any change in the qualified staff in charge should be reported by the licensee to the licensing authority within 1 month. Drugs should be purchased only from a duly licensed dealer or manufacturer. Any change in the constitution of the licensed firm should be informed to the licensing authority within 3 months, and in the meantime, a fresh license should be obtained in the name of the firm with the changed constitution. Precautions prescribed by the licensing authority for the storage of Schedule C C1 drugs should be observed. For the sale of additional categories of drugs listed in Schedule C C1, excluding X, the licensee must take prior permission of the licensing authorities. Next one is the restricted license. The licenses for the restricted sale of the drugs other than those specified in Schedule C, C1 and X, and those specified in Schedule C and C1 but not in the Schedule X, are issued in the Form 20A and 21A respectively. Restricted license can be given to dealers or person in respect of drugs whose sale does not require the supervision of a qualified person. Itinerant vendors in exceptional cases for bona fide traveling agent of firms dealing in drugs, or to a vendor who purchases drugs from a licensed dealer for distribution in sparsely populated areas where other channels of distribution of drugs are not available. Restricted license may also be issued to a traveling agent of a firm for the special purpose of distribution to the medical practitioners or dealer for supply of biological and other special products specified in Schedule C. These are the following form numbers and which are used for the different licenses. Next topic is the labeling and packaging of the. All the general and specific labeling and packaging specified to all classes of drugs and cosmetics should be as per the provisions made under the Act. Labeling should be attractive and readable. It should be printed on outside of the packing material as well as on the packing of the drug formulations. The container of all the drugs, including patent or proprietary medicines, are to be labeled in accordance of the Drug and Cosmetic Rules 1945. Following particulars should be either printed or written in indelible ink and should appear in a conspicuous manner on the label of the innermost container of any drug or every other covering in which the container is packed. First one is the proper name of the drug should be printed in a more conspicuous manner than the trade name, if any. A correct statement of the net contents in terms of weight, measure, volume, number of units of activities, as the case may be, are expressed in metric system. The content of the active ingredients, the name and the address of the manufacturer in case of the drugs container in an ampule or similar small container. It is enough if only the name of the manufacturer and his principal place of business is shown. The manufacturing license number or MFG license number or ML. A distinctive batch number, the figure representing the batch number being preceded by the words batch number or B number or batch or lot number or lot. The label of the innermost container of the following categories of drugs and every other covering in which the container is packed shall bear a conspicuous red vertical line on the left side running throughout the body of the label, not less than 1 mm in width, without disturbing the other printed conditions on the label. Packing should ensure the stability of the product during transportation and storage. It should ensure the high quality of the product. These are the different categories of the drug and the different particulars that are important which has to be mentioned on the label.